Welcome to our weekly mini session. Each week we deliver a bite-sized workshop on hot topics. This workshop will be live on our main Facebook page as well as our certified teachers group. We will also have it recorded so you can reference all of our previous topics on the AcroDance Resource Center. Today's weekly mini is sponsored by TumbleTrack. Today and up until June 30th, all viewers can receive 25% off all folding inclines, including the big cheese and mini ramps. You can also buy 3 Build-A-Mats and get 1 free. In addition, Acrobatic Arts subscribers always have a special promo code of 15% off all TumbleTrack products. Please see the comments below for more details and let us know where you're from. Today's topic is the many ways to use an incline mat. We have special guest teacher Vicki Fletcher with us today. Vicki has adjudicated dance competitions and has taught workshops at many studios worldwide. She feels it is very important to stay current with training, so she attends workshops and conventions whenever she can. She has won many awards for her creative and innovative choreography, and her students have won numerous awards, scholarships, and titles. Vicki is our resident expert here at Acrobatic Arts and will bring you lots of great tips today. Vicki, it's nice to have you. Take it away.
Thanks, Marie. All right. Hi, teachers. So today we're going to talk about incline mats. So we get a lot of questions on our Facebook page and the teacher certified page, and I see it kind of everywhere about mats, and people are wondering where to get them, what to get, what size to get. So today we're going to talk about our incline mats. The incline mats that I'm going to use today are from TumbleTrack, and they are great mats. They have a really great material that they're made out of. The density of them is not too soft and not too hard, which is really important when you're looking for these incline mats. So if your incline mats are too soft, the dancers are just going to squish right into them, and it's really hard to kind of get any footing or any kind of balance or traction on them. If they're too hard, those younger ones are going to be a little intimidated by it, and it's going to feel just like being on a floor, and they kind of need that little reassurance. So these mats are really great for that. I'm going to actually these are my demonstrators. This is Chloe and Bentley. So these two are going to be my demonstrators for today, and I'm going to get them to start moving the mats around just so that we can be ready. But the that black one that they are folding right now, that is the big cheese that you heard Marie talk about. So that one's about 2 feet high on the highest end, and it's 5 feet wide by about 10 feet long. And then the one that Chloe just put back, the multicolored one, that's about 16 inches high, still 5 feet wide by about 7 feet long. Either of these mats are great, and they come in so many different sizes. So the multicolored one, that is their large incline. Okay. They also have a medium size and a smaller one. They are great for some things and with little ones, but I don't have a lot of studio space. In fact, I'm in a really small studio this time because I can actually connect directly to the internet. So I'm gonna have to move my camera around today, so bear with me on that. But if you don't have a lot of storage room, you're better off to just get one of the big ones that is good for all ages. So the big one you can use for Bentley size, even lower, all the way up to your seniors and your teen dancers. That is great for all of them. But for some of those smaller ones, they're not big enough for your younger ones. So instead of maybe investing in a whole lot of them, just invest in a nice big size one. But like I said, TumbleTrack has some really great products, so go online and check them out. One thing that's really great about these incline mats as well is they have Velcro on them. So if you're worried about them slipping, you can attach them to other mats and it holds attraction. But I will say that I don't even have to use them on my carpeted bonded mats because they stick right to them because they are so heavy. Like, they're easy enough to move. So you'll notice that these two can move them on their own, but they're solid enough that I'm not scared that they're going to be moving around on them. Okay. All right. So we are going to get going here, and I'm just going to give you some things. So this isn't a really, really long session, right? So I'm just going to kind of touch on a few things. I'm going to give you a few things for your conditioning and cardio that you can use it for. They're great if you're going to do like just set different sections in your room to set them up to do. Circuit training is great with them. So I'm going to do some things starting with them folded, and then we'll move into some more limbering and then some tumbling things that we like to use them for. But this is by no means the end of what you can do with these mats. What you can do with them is endless, okay? So we're going to start with it folded. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see them. All right, so starting with them folded, I love to do the box jumps with them, okay? So box jumps are going to build lots of strong ankles and legs and core strength, but I'm going to combine it with a frog jump as well. So they're going to do a box jump on and then a frog jump across, hitting that nice hollow position, and then they're going to land off with a nice solid sturdy landing, okay? Go ahead. Up, and then they're going to do the frog jump and off, nice solid landing, and turn and do one more for me, and box jump up, good, and frog jump. And these you can use, like if you have the younger ones, you can even do this. So the multicolored one, the large incline beside the big cheese, that one would be great for your younger ones. But Bentley's pretty little, she's only 8, so but she can still do this, but it's because I'm challenging her. So when you have the little ones that might not be quite at that level or that strength yet, then you can use your lower level ones, okay? Lower height ones. All right, so now we're gonna do upper and lower body lifts. So our upper body lifts with height, they come in level 8 in the syllabus. Okay, so I'm gonna get Bentley to hold on to Chloe. She's gonna set herself up. Can you just do like 3 of them for us? So upper body lifts using the mat. What's great about this is I can probably get 4 of them doing it at once, okay? So lots of room on it. I find this is one thing, if you don't have something like this incline mat, it's hard to set something up. You need a lot of panel mats to be able to do that. So having this incline mat is perfect. And like I said, I can get at least 4 of them in at the same time doing it. And now she's gonna do lower body lifts as well. So she's going to lean back. Yep, she's going to put her forehead on her hands, and she's going to lift and lower and lift and lower and lift. Good. Okay, so this is a great workout for their lower backs. It needs to be nice and strong. So excellent for them to do that. So we're going to do our tricep dips. So Chloe's going to sit, keeping her hands straight forward, and she can work on her tricep dips using this, down and up. Okay. So tricep dips are great. Push-ups are also great using these. So they're going to do 2 different versions. So Bentley's going to do hands on and Chloe's going to do feet on. And they're going to do their nice tricep push-up. And go ahead. So obviously the one Chloe's doing is a lot harder than the one that Bentley's doing. So you can, if you have different levels in your studios, then you do whatever they can do, like multiple different ways of doing that. Okay. All right, so now we're going to start working on things like our Arabian Limbers and some kind of back handspring drills. So what they're going to do is, Bentley's going to do one first. She's going to kick up to her handstand, and she's going to place her feet on the mat. So she's going to look up and place her feet there. Then she's going to bend in her legs, and then she's going to push through her shoulders and hollow position out and plank. Good, can you do that one more time? So she's going to get into that nice position where she's going to be where the block is going to come in. She's a little bit lower than where she would normally be. She's going to sink in her shoulders and push, tight legs, tight body. Okay, so this is going to help with that second part of the back handspring. It's going to teach them kind of where the blocking stage comes in, and it's going to help them get those legs nice and straight and reach them long. So it's going to help with some of that undercutting in that second flying phase of their back handspring. And now Chloe's going to sit on. This is going to help with your Arabian Limbers. I find with back handsprings, one of the hardest things is to get them out of their lower backs. So we don't want a lot of arching because that's going to cause some undercutting and really short back handsprings where we want them nice and long. So this is going to teach Chloe that she needs to get the edge of the mat in her thoracic area. So up around kind of like where her half top strap would be, okay, up around her shoulder blades more. That's where the mat will be. And then she's just gonna, she will have to pike her legs over a little bit, but then she's just gonna finish it like the Arabian Limber. So she's gonna go back and push and finish. Okay, so it's giving her a little bit of momentum, but it's showing her that it's not coming really from the arch and that we really want them to push into that thoracic area. Can you do that one more time? that time I think you're a little bit more this way. So that made her actually arch more. So then I would get her to move it up. So she might, can you just mark it out for me? Like lay down. So she would want to sit on it and lay back so that the edge of that mat is in the correct spot. So right in her thoracic area. And then she knows she's ready to do it. So now you can sit up from there. Good. That's a core exercise all on its own. And go. And push. And down. Good girl. Okay. So these are great ones to work on your Arabians and just really the start of some back handsprings. So you can be working on these things long before they're ready for it. And it's helping them also with just the fact of going back a little bit quicker than what they're used to. So now we're going to get used to do some snap jam drills. So can you guys move that mat just a tiny little bit? And then you're going to move the other one in front of the wall for me. So I'm going to get Chloe to sit on the edge just because of kind of time restraints and stuff. I'm going to get her to sit on the edge because I have the mat kind of half on a mat and half off. So it's a little wobbly. Normally it wouldn't be like this. So Bentley, I'm going to get, see how I turned it widthwise. Okay, so it's not quite so far away from the wall. And Bentley's going to put her foot up on it to get up onto this height. She's going to kick up to her handstand. She's going to get into the position she would be in for her blocking. She's going to sink in her shoulders and then snap those legs down and rebound. Okay, so this is creating and making Bentley have to push out farther. It's that second part again with that the second part of that flying phase and making sure that it's not undercutting and trying to make it long. Okay, so we want both those flying phases to be long. The first one will probably be a little bit longer than the second, but this is going to help them from not coming down with their feet like right between their hands. So do that one more time for me. Good. And sink, push, tight. Good. Okay. So that's the next step up from doing the bridge one. So now I'm going to get Chloe to turn it lengthwise because she's taller. And she's going to kick up. And she's going to kick up right from the floor. Hopefully it's not too wobbly for you. So she's going to kick up. She'll be farther away from the wall. Yeah. And she's going to do the same thing. So sink in the shoulders, pop it off. Okay. So great for all of these drills for them to do. And then also for Bentley, it'd be good for her to just start kicking up into her handstand. It's going to build a lot more upper body strength instead of just stepping up onto the mat. Okay. All right. So now can we move that one back and we're going to unfold the mats. A lot of moving around. All right. So we're going to unfold that mat. So if you see, I love the squares and stuff at the top too. It kind of separates them in their little sections. That should be good. Move it a little bit farther forward, like this way, just a smidge. Good. All right. Okay, so now we got our mat unfolded. So there's so many different things that you could have done with them folded, but like I said, we're just trying to condense a whole lot into one. So now with them unfolded, we're going to start doing stuff that's obviously incorporating that incline. So most of the skills that you do down the incline make it a little bit easier. It's going to help with momentum and power. And then anything that you do up the incline is going to build strength. Okay, so we're going to start with log rolls. Bentley's going to do them down. So Bentley's going to do log rolls down. So these are hard too because they are just going to want to roll, right? It's going to be an instinct to just have fun and roll down that mat. But we want them still to hit that hollow position. Go ahead, Bentley. Hollow position and Superman and control it and not let themselves just keep rolling down the mat, okay? So still really looking for that nice strong technique in the hollow, showing the hollow and the Superman. And now Chloe's going to do it up the incline. So now this is that coming down is a little bit more control, going up is a little bit more strength. And go and squeeze and squeeze. Good. Okay. So wherever you want to situate this in your class, you can have it at the end of your mat. That tends to kind of be where mine is at the end of the mat. And a lot of the times if I'm doing stuff down and back the mats, when they're down at the mat end with the incline mat, then I get them to do different things. I'll give them different drills that they need to do at the end that will keep building some strength so that they're not just standing around. So now you're rock and roll to standing in your tuck and your candle. So Bentley's going to start in your tuck. So arms are going to start in front. So we're going to start on the floor. The biggest problem I find with the rock and roll in candle and tuck is the stand up at the end. So they might not be able to get quite as high up on their shoulders because they're actually going up the incline, but it's going to help the recovery at the end. Okay, go ahead. So she's going to go in her tuck, holding her knees, and then stand right up. Good. Now do the same thing in candle, arms beside the ears. Good girl. Squeeze, and then up. All right. So it's just helping her standing up at the end, which is, we all know with the little ones, can be really tricky. Okay. So now Chloe, I'm going to give Chloe a bit of an ab workout here. So she's going to go lay down on her back, and she's going to hold on to the top of that incline mat. And so what she's going to do is she's going to pike up. So she's going to go up to her pike, and then lower down, don't touch. And then she's going to go up to her candle and lower down, don't touch. And now this one's going to change a little bit. She's going to pike, and then she's going to go up to her candle, and she's going to lower and hollow and not let her bum touch. So the only thing that can touch is her heels first. Yes. And then relax. Okay. And then they would just do those in reps. So maybe 10 of each. All right, builds a lot of core strength. It really helps that hollow position, which is really important in a lot of our skills that we're going to do. All right. So now we're going to start with our rolls. So a lot of times people say, so what else can you do on these incline mats besides rolls? Well, there's lots, and pretty much anything that you can do on an incline mat. All right. So we're going to start with our rolls. So when you're teaching those babies, the very first time that I teach a backwards roll, I will get them to stand in front of the high end. So Chloe, can you go stand at the back of that high end there? Okay, so she's going to turn around. So she's just going to sit to do her backwards roll. So all she's going to do is basically sit her bum down and roll back. And I'm going to make sure that those hands are right back beside her ears. So instantly make sure that those hands are in the proper position. Really important. But at this point, all I want to see is that she's going straight over her head. She's pushing as much as she possibly can with her hands. And she can just land on her knees right now. So go, she's just going to sit and so she's just going to let that incline kind of take her over, okay? Where if I'm just doing it on the regular flat mats, a lot of the times you're going to have to keep spotting these dancers, giving them a little bit of a lift in the hips, right? So that they're not hurting their necks in any way. So this allows them to do it and takes a lot of pressure off the neck. Just like I said, make sure that those hands are constantly in the right spot. So now can you do it again? And land on your feet. So this is where we want them to land, obviously. So she's going to roll and land on her feet. Okay. So they're instantly already starting standing. So now I don't really have to change that. She can then stand on the mat and go for the roll. Can you do stand and roll? Just a regular backwards roll, but standing on it. So they can start here, but sometimes, go ahead. Sometimes it's just a little intimidating for them to do that, okay? So they get a little bit scared about that actual backwards roll, and they don't understand the tucking, and they really want to arch their backs. So now, once they understand that, and they've got that good, Bentley's going to do her backwards roll, and she's going to push really, really, really hard in her hands, and she's going to land in a plank. Push and plank, okay? So this, again, the incline's giving her a little bit more momentum to help with that. So eventually we're working up to our back extension, our backwards roll extension, which comes in level 7. So Chloe, can you do your backwards roll extension? So with this really helps, like I said, with the momentum. It doesn't take quite as much strength per se, but what they have to remember is because they have that momentum, they're going to think about pushing up into that handstand a lot sooner than what they normally would on their regular mats. So Chloe, as soon as your hands are touching, you're going to think handstands. Okay, and go up. Good. Okay, so she could even push up sooner. Do one more for me. So she could push up even sooner and try and hold that handstand. And up. Good. Okay. So this is a great way to work on that skill. Like I said, comes in level 7, and it's a pretty difficult skill for them to learn. All right, so now we're going to do our handstand forward rolls. So we all know how difficult they can be trying to get them to do it in their straight arms. It kind of freaks them out. They instantly want to tuck in a ball, and they want to bend their arms, which is going to cause them to come down on their head, and that's not what we want to happen, right? So Chloe's going to start at the bottom. So this is one, when they're learning, I would never do down. because it's actually doing the exact opposite than what you want. So you want to bring the floor up closer to their shoulders, not farther away. Okay. So Chloe's going to go into her handstand. She's not going to be able to complete the roll. She's not going to do the actual stand up, but she's going to do the hard part. And that's the keeping the arms straight, finding the hollow position and letting her shoulders touch first in that candle position. Go ahead. She's going to go up and in. Okay. So she can also do it. Put your hands this time on the carpet mat. So she can do the same thing now. She'll just walk it down. So her hands will go on, head in line, tip, 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 and down she goes. Okay. So again, like I said, this is a tricky skill for them to learn. They get a little bit intimidated by it. So doing it on this is great. So now for a little bit of a challenge, and these two haven't quite mastered it yet, but it's something that they will work on, is walking on your hands. So walking on your hands is something I do a lot, and these two are very good at walking on your hands. They're just not so great yet. They're going to walk up the incline. So Chloe, you guys both can give it a try. You can. So walking up the incline, this is taking a lot more strength. It's taking a lot more balance, and it's, yeah, keep going. It's forcing, it's actually doing a really good wrist stretch. Good girl, Chloe. Woo, she made it to the top. Oh, see, when the pressure's on, she can do it. Okay, come down. Oh, she even front walk over down. So this is something I'd like to put at the end of my mat. So they will walk the length of the mat, then they'll turn around next time they go through. They have to walk the length of the mat and then go up the incline. All right, so it's just, Bentley, you want to give it a try? Let's see how Bentley does. So this is also a really big wrist stretcher. Tight legs, tight legs. Tight. Good, not too bad. So that's just going to build a lot of upper body strength that we want them to have, but it's also forcing their wrists to really push even farther past. So it's a really good wrist stretch for them as well. Good, guys. All right, so now we're going to go into some limbering, some bridge work. So Bentley's going to do, the very first time I do down to bridge with them, I will do it here. So I always get their heels to go flat up against that mat so that they have a really good starting position and their feet are even, because I can't count the number of times that their feet are just not even with this. And Bentley's going to go up and go down to her bridge. So the mat's nice and close, and then she can do a recovery. Okay. So this is kind of like the next step down from walking down the wall. All right. So they can go down to their bridge on the wall, walk down and come back up. And when they got that really good, then you can bring them over to the incline mat and do it like this. I find this has really helped with my dancers with their bridge and recover. So now they're bridge and kick over. So my novice group this year, my little ones, I get them to do, once they can do a bridge and kick over with me pretty good, I'll get them to do it on the incline mat by themselves. So Chloe, can you just start at the very top? So what I get them to do is they start at the top. No, sit down and push up for me. Yeah. So I get them to push up from the top, and they kick up, they kick over, and they're like, "Ooh, I did it all by myself." And then I'll say, "Okay, move down a little bit." So then they move down a little bit, and then they move down a little bit more and a little bit more. It's the same angle the entire time, but they don't know that, right? So what they're doing is getting repetition, right? And they think they're getting stronger. They are getting stronger because of the repetitions, but they think that it's harder as they go down. It doesn't really get any harder until their hands actually go on that carpeted mat. So then once their hands, they get to the end, they put their hands on the carpeted mat, they're still pushing from the incline mat, and then they take another step and they're fully on the carpeted mat or your flat mats. And I just find that whole repetition of them coming all the way down the incline is great. And I can be over spotting other dancers doing things, and they're pretty confident doing it on their own. Okay, so with this, we can do also front and back walkovers. And because these two can already do front and back walkovers, what I would do is have it at the end of the mat, and they'd have to do them up the mat now. So Chloe, what are you doing? Are you doing a front? So Chloe's going to do a front walkover, and you want to make sure that it still finishes the exact same way. And that was not a good one, so she will do that again. Okay, so it's a lot harder on the recovery. A little bit more power and pull up. Yep. So lots of core strength it takes at the end. Bentley, can you do back walkover up? And it's just giving them that little extra challenge, okay? For a skill that they can already do normally. Now it's just kind of giving them that next step. So maybe they're not quite ready for the next step in the back walkovers and their front walkovers, but putting them going up the incline, it's just going to build more strength so that when you do want to do those different variations, they're going to come a lot easier. Okay. One thing I do not do is front limbers. So I never do a front limber, only because it's that 2-foot landing and then recovery, usually their momentum is going way too far forward and we don't want those steps out. So I don't usually do that. The only thing I might do is like a handstand to bridge going up it to kind of help with the first part. Okay. Other skills that are really good on this are Valdez. You can work your Valdezes on this. One arm Valdez is really good to learn on your incline mat. Moon walkovers. Who wants to demonstrate moon walkover? Okay. So moon walkovers are great on this. So it's going to help them. It's a little bit softer on the tops of their feet. Go ahead. A little bit softer on the tops of their feet, and it's giving them just more momentum to help them get into that bridge and help with that lifting of the hips. Rolling tinskas. Can you move that out for me? So actually, you're a lefty. You're going to have to pull it this way. Pull this end to this way. So push it back. There you go. Now pull, yeah. And then you'll have to pull it this way. So rolling tinskas, these can be a tricky skill to learn. Yeah. So the mat is heavy, but like I said, 2 of them can do it on their own. There, that should be good. So rolling tinskas can be tricky, and one of the things that I find that they don't do is lift their hips up high enough. So they automatically think about their upper body, which makes sense because they don't want to hit their heads or land on their heads. But they don't think about their lower half, and their lower half is really important in this. So I'm going to get Chloe to do it, and I'm going to tell her that her fingertips have to be facing in front of the mat, and she's going to land with her hips up onto the mat. Go ahead. So she's going to go up and land on the mat. Okay, and then come back off. So that is one way that I will help them get their hips up higher. Okay, and even with Bentley size would be great for this mat. And now can you do them down the mat? So then once they kind of understand, they can work on them going down the mat, because again, it's just helping them build that momentum. Okay, so those are just some limbering things. Can you pull them back? We're going to tumble now, so pull from that end. So they're just going to move the mat, and I'm going to actually move my camera, and we're going to do a few little tumbling drills that you can do with it. All right. Hopefully we can still see good. That should be good, guys. Okay, so anything cartwheel wise, I would actually use the smaller incline for it. And then so when we're starting to work on aerials, you want them high and tight, right? So I would get them on the smaller incline mat, and we would work quick cartwheels going down, and they have to stay and like start and finish on the incline mat. Also, flying cartwheels, again, start and finish on the incline mat. They're not allowed to actually touch the blue carpeted mat, and that's going to help them think about high and tight. So those are your flying cartwheels, everything. Aerials, same thing. Coming down the incline mat will really help with the momentum that they need for it, so they can work those. And then once they get strong in those, then they can do aerials up the incline. So Bentley, you want to do your aerial up the incline? Good, good. So again, they still have to finish it, but now it's got that height to it, right? So they have to have more lift to be able to get into this and finish it properly. Okay. So again, like I said, anything coming down is going to build momentum. So one thing that we really want momentum on, and hang on, I'm going to fix this because I'm on my cord and this thing's going to tip over. One thing that we really want to build our momentum on is our round offs and our back handsprings. Okay. So with this, we're going to start working on some round offs. So can you guys just go up to the top, or one of you up there? And working our round offs coming down is really going to help them get their weight back and into their heels where we want them to be in their round offs. And then it's going to stop those rebounds that are going forward. So if you have round offs that the rebounds are going forward, they're never going to connect. So Bentley, can you just do a round off for me? Okay, so see how it's really pushing her back? It's exactly where we want. We want that momentum to continually travel. Okay, so lots of round offs. And then can you do one up now, please? Same thing, but just do it up. And then going up, it's just gonna build strength. Yeah. And I'm gonna still make sure that she tries to jump backwards, but I'll show you in a minute how we're gonna connect it. So now, those are your round offs, okay? Like I said, builds lots of power that we want. When I do back handsprings, the very first place that I do a back handspring is on my incline with me spotting. So Chloe, will you just do a standing back handspring? So this really kind of, it builds their confidence. It's a softer mat. It's, like I said, it's helping with that downward momentum. Okay. So then once they understand their back handsprings, I also do standing back tucks on my incline mat, down my incline mat. So now they're going to connect. So can you guys connect your round off back handspring from on the mat? Okay. So this will really help the connection so that they are taking off from pushing into their heels and not going forward so that they're not undercutting. Go ahead. Good. Okay. So that builds lots of momentum. So now we talked about how we do them up. So Chloe, can you just do one up for me? Yeah. So she's going to do round off back handspring up the mat, which is going to build strength, but watch where her rebound is going to kind of go. Go ahead. So her rebound went forward. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take after that rebound and she's going to step out of it and she's going to connect it to a round off back handspring. Bentley, will you do that one for me? So round off back handspring up and then connect it to a round off back handspring down. So she's going to step out of that back handspring after she lands it, up and out. Oh, she added an extra one. Good. Okay, so that's just going to build some speed, but it's something that I just like to do to also, it conditions them. So they're going to tumble one way and go right back into tumbling another way. And it's just going to build strength and their conditioning is going to be great. So do you want to do yours, Chloe? Do you think you can do a layout after yours? Sure. Okay. So Chloe's going to try and connect it, round off back handspring up to round off back handspring layout step out. We'll see how it goes. We've been off for 2 months here in Ontario, so we're getting a little out of shape. Push, push. She's a little slow, but not bad. Good girl. Okay. So you can go right from the whole point to this basically is that an incline mat can basically, it's like my spotter, my assistant, because I don't have an assistant in my classes, unfortunately. So I'm usually on my own. So my incline mat really helps me be able to spot my own things and work with some dancers that might need my help, but then gives the other dancers that are capable of starting to do different things, then they can start working on their own things on the incline. So if there is one piece of equipment that I can suggest that you get other than your good mats, is an incline mat. And I think you'd be really happy with it. And it's amazing what you can do. And like I said, this was just kind of scratching the surface on what you can do with an incline mat. All right, Marie, that's us.
That was great, Vicki. Thank you so much. And thank you, Tumble Track, for sponsoring this live session. And thank you, teachers, as well, for joining us for this weekly mini. Be sure to take advantage of today's special offer. You can learn more about acrobatic arts and our programs at acrobaticarts.com. Be sure to join us for next week for our session on mock exam preparation with special guest acrobatic arts examiner Wendy Holmquist. Take care, everybody.